but it is time to talk about warmer sports, and that is golf. Joining us is Sam Puryear. He is Sam Puryear Jr. He is Director of Golf Operations at Queens College of Charlotte. He also heads the Queens Professional Golf Management Program. Sam played collegiately at Tennessee State University and has been a winning coach at both Stanford and Michigan State. Hi, Sam.
Hey.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, piece of cake.
Not a problem. Did your Super Bowl team win?
I got to be honest with you. I was pulling for both teams.
Oh, okay.
I mean, at the end of the day, I love to see coaches where, the players enjoy playing for them and that camaraderie, they enjoy being there, enjoy being a part of the team. But also, when I looked at Denver and they had one of their defensive backs played at Tennessee State. So, in my mind, I was pulling for both teams.
Oh, and that's okay. I try to explain that to somebody. I said, when you don't have a dog in the fight, you can either root against them or for both of them and not really care. So that's what happens.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Talk about your career, please.
I've been really blessed. I grew up in the game. My father was an All-American in the '60s in golf, a small college All-American. So my upbringing was a little different than some. So I was always around the golf course. Although I played other sports, I played football and basketball in high school as well, and I played summer baseball. But golf was something I realized I could do, for the rest of my life. And also I just fell in love with the game. Watching my dad and realizing that. One day, if I worked as hard as I thought I could work, I could potentially sway the game to begin to look more like me and for those that look like, people play the game. Mm-hmm. So I did that. Tennessee State was a great experience, and I've been in golf literally ever since. So it's been a game changer for me because I realize now in coaching, here at Queens and Michigan State and Stanford and running a golf program at Eastlake, what I've realized is that you really have an opportunity to really affect and change lives. And through golf, it's such a corporate game, it lends itself to doing that. So golf has been fantastic.
When we look at golf, I see so many of my friends, black and white, but a number of black folks playing golf, but yet nobody seems to be going into the pros. It's just those distant folks in both the male or the female circuits.
Well, you know what? It takes a lot, and I'm speaking, when I think of, first thought comes to mind, I think about Joe Bramlett. Joseph is on web.com, and he played for me at Stanford. And then you had a couple guys this year also get to the third stage of Q school as it relates to web.com, Tim O'Neill and Harold Varner. So, you have some folks out there, but at the same time, I think that comment is a little strong because I hear it all the time because the numbers aren't as proportionate. When you think about the numbers, there are millions of non-minorities playing golf.
Right.
And then when you compare it to some of our numbers, the paucity in our numbers, then you realize that, maybe there's par for the course. But I think your real caveat to really making a change isn't so much at the professional level. I think it comes initially at the junior golf level. You have to get more young people playing in junior golf tournaments. You have to get more young people playing high school golf. Then you have to get more young people playing collegiately. But I think even if you want to take a step back, even going to that, in order to get them to play at the collegiate level, you got to realize who's recruiting them. Well, you got to get more minority coaches. You got to get more black coaches.
Exactly, and that's one of the seats that you definitely fulfill. You mentioned the junior golf level, and even then, I don't often see fathers taking their sons and daughters out to the golf course with them.
Right.
You see putt, and
yeah.
and that's about where it begins and ends.
Yeah, times have changed. I had a Super Bowl party at my house last night, and I had someone ask me, how did I get into golf? And I said, my dad used to allow me to go to the golf course with him because he was going every weekend. It was guaranteed. And although he would take me out there, his deal was, hey, you out here, have fun. But I learned more just from being in that environment from some of his buddies who were down there on the range hitting balls with me or putting up there with me. And I would listen to the stories and walk around the golf course watching. Even though I knew each group they were gambling, I would watch and learn some lessons from those groups. That really doesn't happen anymore. I hate to say this, but even our parenting model has changed. I mean, there are a lot of parents now who look at having an outlet to go to the gym or having an outlet to go to the golf course as an outlet away from the kids and the family.
Yeah.
Years ago, that wasn't the case. Now parents, I laugh when I listen to the bobbleheads on talk TV and talk radio. They're all basically preaching to parents, you need your time too. You need your space. You need your this. You need your that. Well, wait a minute. If the parent is as focused or more focused on them getting their independence, so to speak, or getting time away from their kids, they've now created babysitting models for their kids. I mean, now they take the kids, drop them off at the mall for 3 hours just for a break.
Mm-hmm.
They let them sit in front of video games for 2 or 3 hours just to say they can get a break. That wasn't the case when I was coming up.
Yeah. Later on today we're going to have a friend of mine who was a caddy. He worked as a caddy while he was in, he didn't have a dad at home, but he and his friends used to caddy at golf courses in and around D.C., and eventually he did a little caddying for President Nixon, and Nixon
Wow.
became his mentor as when he was still vice president. That's also the kind of thing that's missing, too.
Well, they got rid of caddy programs. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
creation of the golf cart pretty much kicked caddying to the curb, and it was really financial if you think about it.
Right.
I mean, now you can turn a foursome around a lot faster, and you can get more people who aren't able to walk a golf course, who aren't in any kind of shape, with the advent of a golf cart, whereas before you couldn't. So now a lot of the young black kids who, like my dad, would get their introduction to the game based on coming out and shagging balls and caddying, they don't even get the opportunity anymore, because now all your driving ranges have driving range pickers and the whole 9 yards. Kids aren't out in the field picking balls anymore. You're not chipping each other. Now you go hit balls for 45 minutes and the machine drives out and picks the ball up. Well, now kids really have to some golf clubs now around the United States, kids are a nuisance. Mm-hmm. I don't care what your color is. They're a nuisance.
Right, and that's
the
whole
fact.
philosophy has changed.
Yeah, that's a sad fact.
Yeah. Once again, we're talking with Sam Puryear, Jr. He is Director of Golf Operations at Queens College of Charlotte. Let's talk about your professional golf management program.
I appreciate it. Yeah, the PGM program is pretty unique, because one way in which we're different is that in a non-certified program, we offer students the opportunity to still major in whatever they want to major in, which I love that advent, because now you can major in business or chemistry or be a pre-med or whatever, but yet you can still get a minor in PGM, and you can also still take your PGM courses, which sets you up for getting an opportunity if you really want to work in golf, because all it does here is now give you more cogs in your wheel, gives you more options. And to me, that's a huge advantage, because I also allow young people, if they're really good players, they can get in our PGM program and also play on our team, whereas at most places with a PGM program, that's not the case. So for those looking to make a career in golf, I mean, there's certain things you're going to have, mandates that you're going to have to do anyway. You're going to have to pass your playability test. You're still going to have to do your book work. Well, the difference is that happens after college here, whereas if you go to some other programs, you do it in school, and yet they still don't allow you to play on a team.
Yeah, and so that makes such a difference. In other words, you're not playing as regularly, because if you're on the team, you're going to be able to go out and play golf when you need to and want to.
Absolutely. I know if you're here, you're going to practice 6 days a week. I can promise you that.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're not, then you're waiting to pay to go.
Absolutely.
And that is also a major expense. I want to go back and talk a little bit about Tennessee State University and the film is it out or coming out?
Yeah, it's coming out April the 25th, From the Rough.
From the Rough. Talk about that.
Well, the film is set and based on Dr. Katana Starks, who was my college coach when I played back in the 80s, and Taraji Henson. I think she did a great performance. To me, not only did she look like Coach, but she kind of sounded like Coach on the film. But we learned a lot at Tennessee State. I think one thing people forget when you start thinking about collegiate athletics, oftentimes it's not just about the wins and losses. It's about some of the life lessons that you learn. because I look at my career right now, and as I speak to my teams, and like currently my men's team, we're ranked 9th in the country, and my women are doing really well, coming off back-to-back championship years, winning the conference. I still spew a lot of the same things that Coach used to tell us. She cared about us more as people than she did as golfers. And yet the movie is based upon the fact that she was the first woman coaching the men's Division I team in the history of the sport, which when we were playing for, of course, we didn't know.
Right.
We just to us, we were like, hey, man, we got a woman coach, but as long as she, gets us what we need, we're going to be okay. And yet I still remember taking those van rides to golf tournaments. She was harping on us, getting on our backs. Make sure you have your book bags. Make sure you have your books. You're going to study in a hotel. Go to bed at a reasonable time. Be respectful. No earrings. No jewelry. That kind. Make sure your pants are pulled up. You're going to match. You're a representative of your family, of your institution, the whole 9 yards. I mean, there are a lot of lessons. And so when the movie came forward, and what Taraji and some of those folks did in the movie, I got to be honest with you, it was a home run, because what it shows you is that the little man at a small institution, if you have a willing coach and you have participants, you have student athletes who buy in and believe in the mission, not only are they going to be successful on the golf course or on the athletic fields, they're going to be extremely successful in life. And when I think about, some of the things that have come out of it, I mean, I've been fortunate. I've been blessed. My parents did a great job with me. I would like to think, but I mean, just in the golf circle alone, I came out first. But I mean, if you think about like Sean Foley right now, who teaches Tiger Woods and Darren Clark, number 1 and 2 players in the world, he played for Coach as well.
Mm-hmm.
The Robert Dinwiddie who's on a European tour, and some of these other guys who came through and played on the Canadian tour, and some of them who are club pros and work in the business, and some of them who are extremely successful, the Gwalen Arnicks and the Eric Wilhites, and these folks, the Marcus Cottons, who are incredibly successful just in business and financial, and some of the big things. They all, I mean, we got those same lessons at Tennessee State. Some of us went into golf, some of these guys went to the other realms, but to me, the movie was right on time, because I feel like right now in America, I feel like right now people are looking at creative ways to motivate your young people, and also creative ways to get great educations, but yet realize the dreams still come true.
Right. And once again, it's the true story of Katana Starks, and it is something you should go see, definitely support. It comes out in April, From the Rough, and also it is the last film that Michael Clark Duncan worked on before he passed.
Absolutely. And it's one of those things you don't even realize. There's so many talented people out there that when the Michael Clark Duncans and the Tom Feltons and the Taraji, when they heard the story and realized the story of Coach Starks, I mean, they felt like we did, like, wow, that's a great story. Mm-hmm. The lady has done some really amazing things. I mean, it's one of those things that, and here's another piece I would love to push out too. At a lot of these historically black universities, there are so many gems, there's so many diamonds in the rough that we don't know about, because they're not on the mainstream ESPN every night. They're not in the USA Today newspaper every night. But I mean, just to give you a quick, if you think about, I am pushing Tennessee State. I mean, that's where I went to school.
Exactly.
But this weekend, another one of our football players got inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many schools can say they have multiple people in the Football Hall of Fame?
From a school that doesn't get a lot of credit for it.
That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, and the movie at the beginning of the movie, it talks about some of the kudos and accolades and the accomplishments of how many Olympic athletes. I mean, if you go back into the 60s, the Wilma Rudolph years, and you start thinking about the Olympic women's track team, and you're looking at the entire
multiple Olympics.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's a blessing. I think the movie highlighted is just another example of a wonderful gem that the world had in Dr. Katana Starks, and it's coming out April 25th, and it's going to air in at least 30 cities around the United States, and I'm pretty excited about it.
All right. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to talk more golf with Sam Puryear, so stay tuned. Welcome back. We continue Golf Talk with Sam Puryear Jr. He is Director of Golf Operations at Queens College of Charlotte. We've actually got a phone call from Lee in Indiana. Go ahead, Lee.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
All right. Hey, Sam.
How are you?
This is Lee Murphy in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
How you doing?
Okay. I played golf with you down in Orlando and out at East West, Bill Dickey's tournament.
Okay. That was some years back. Absolutely.
Yeah, I know. And what I was trying to find out is that my daughter moved to Atlanta.
Sure.
And I was thinking that he told me you no longer was over there, and I hadn't seen you at any of the tournaments. Last time I played was in 2006.
Okay.
But anyway, I said, man, somebody told me you was at Michigan State.
Yep, I was blessed enough at Michigan State. I won the Big Ten championship. I was coach of the year, and in Stanford, I was part of the national championship. And here at Queens University here in Charlotte, I've won 3 conference championships. So I've been pretty fortunate. 5 rings. That's pretty nice in a 9-year career.
Wow. What's that one guy that was named Royce?
Yep.
Yeah, you guys, you was with him.
Yep.
And we played down in Orlando in Bill Dickey's East West.
Absolutely.
Then out in Phoenix.
Absolutely. I definitely remember that. Absolutely.
Okay. I was the one who always had the little pig.
I remember you had the Arkansas. I remember that.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I remember. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was trying to find out how to get in touch with you, man.
Well, I hear the easiest way is just my cell number. You can give me a call at area code 517.
Well, I'm driving right now. Let me give you my number, and you call me back on it.
Sir, wait a minute. I'll cut both of you off. We'll take your number down. We have Sam's number, and we will make sure that you two get in touch with each other. Okay, Lee?
That sounds great.
Yeah, because Sam, I don't want you giving out your cell over the phone.
Oh, okay, I appreciate that.
Over the air. I just don't. Just don't do that.
I appreciate that.
But we'll make sure that you get in touch with him, Lee. Okay? So just hang on, and my producer Evan will be back with you in just a second. Okay?
I appreciate that.
All right. Sam, you mentioned that you had gone back into teaching. How do you become a person who realizes that you're going to be a teacher?
That's a great question. Well, I think, number one, it has to be in you. I mean, you have to want to do it. I mean, now again, just had this conversation yesterday as well. You have to love kids. You have to love something bigger than yourself. When you leave here, my dad always, when we talk about financial, my dad would always say, have you ever seen a Brinks truck following a funeral procession? And I'll say no. He said, well, trust me, you have to leave it all on earth, and that's our legacy. So I always look at what we all do, you and me and everybody else we ever come in contact with. We're a tree. We're all planted as a tree, and we all start as a tree. But here's the difference. The more people we help, the longer we reach, our roots, our branches grow differently. And some people's grow to become full to where, not only do they reach out to work 20 people, 100 people, millions of people. Well, those families have families that have families. So your tree begins to grow and bud and grow and bud. Whereas if you have more of an insular approach where you choose to help yourself, and I guess there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, the world is made up of all of us. But your tree just doesn't have the same reach. So I think first it comes with you have to want to do it. And two, if you realize what you're good at. If you say, hey, I want to get into golf, I want to be a great golf teacher, that's fantastic. Well, get in some of the programs, get a job at some of the pro shops. If you want to get in golf, pass your PAT, get your Class A, and you have an opportunity to do it. But at the same time, if you say, you know what, I want to work in golf, but I don't want to work in a golf shop, but I know I'm incredibly talented, then major in business, and after you get your business degree, or if you say, hey, I want to be a lawyer, get your law degree, and then yet the golf world needs great golf lawyers.
Isn't that the truth? Every business needs good attorneys. That's
Absolutely.
For sure. Yeah.
And the golf world needs great business people. I mean, and so the world of golf at that point becomes segmented because you can become, golf architect, golf business people, golf designers. Here's one that people don't even think about. You can become a golf chef. Some of these nice clubs are looking for great chefs. Right. Some need great golf general managers.
I was going to say my husband's nephew was a chef at a golf club for a number of years when he first started out his career.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And you mentioned I have another friend whose daughter worked the PGA circuit, but what she did is she was a site coordinator.
Absolutely.
And making sure everything was set up when the tournament got there. So there are many different jobs. If you're not teaching or doing something else, you just pointed out many different jobs that still bring you in touch with the pros.
Absolutely.
Joining me now in studio is my friend Harold Bell, who will be on a little bit later too. But he's the golfer I was telling you about, who actually became very close friends with President Nixon.
Yeah, Sam, I jumped up out of my seat because you mentioned the name Dickey, and how much influence has Mr. Dickey had over guys like you? Because he's a personal friend of mine.
Well, I tell you what, Mr. Dickey was fantastic. I met Mr. Dickey for the first time when I was about 15 or 16, and I was out at the golf course hitting balls, and I share to say I was probably hitting balls where I shouldn't have been hitting balls, but there was nobody on the tee but me, so I was blasting them from the tee down over across the range. And this guy walks up to me and touches me on my shoulder. He says, have you ever thought about playing golf in college? And at first, I didn't know how to take it, so I kind of chuckled. I said, absolutely. I said, I have about 8 schools that have offered me full scholarships here in the state. He said, well, would you mind if I gave your name to a couple of more coaches? I said, I wouldn't mind at all. I said, first of all, I really appreciate you taking the time because I don't know you, you don't know me. I said, I really appreciate that. And my dad was very appreciative, and sure enough, he shook my hand and he kept playing. And I didn't talk to him anymore for a while. And yet, a week or so later, I get this call from Tennessee State. I'm coming home from basketball practice, and my mom said, hey, when did you reach out to Tennessee State? I said, I don't even know where that is. And she said, well, they call here, and they want to offer you a scholarship, and the coach is on the voicemail, on the answer machine. And sure enough, I listened to the answer machine, and it's Coach Starks. And once we started talking, I said, well, how did you even get my name? She said, Bill Dickey.
That's right.
And
Bill
so,
Dickey
yeah,
is a
we kept
pioneer.
a great relationship.
Yeah, Bill Dickey is a pioneer. I've had Mr. Dickey on my show several times. Is he still living, Sam?
No, he passed away.
No kidding, man.
Yeah, he passed away. He touched so many lives.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, he touched a lot of lives. He made a huge difference in for so many of us, and it transcended race. It transcended socioeconomic level.
I'm telling you,
he
man.
just cared about people.
He did. Yeah. Really did. Sam, did you know Harold Donovan?
Absolutely. Harold Donovan was the first black pro in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, at Winston Lake.
That was my walking partner when I was at Winston-Salem, man. Harold and I were good friends, dear friends.
Wait a minute. You were at Winston-Salem State?
Yes, sir.
What year?
I played football and basketball for big house games down there from 59 to 63.
Are you kidding?
Yes, sir.
Here's a small world, Harold. You were in college with my dad.
No kidding.
Yeah, you went to college with my dad.
He was at Winston-Salem?
As a matter of fact, now that I think about it, you went to college with my mom and my dad and my uncle.
Wow.
Okay, throw those names out, Sam, so Harold can figure out who they are.
Yeah, Sam Puryear was my dad.
Yes.
And Earl Puryear was his brother, and they were part of, my dad won 4 CIAAs in a row.
Wow.
And my dad won the CIAA.
Wow, man, small world.
It is a small world. As a matter of fact, 59 to 63, so you knew, talking about another good caddy, you knew Jelly.
Jelly Hansberry and I played football at Spingarn together. We went down to Winston-Salem together, and we were roommates. Bernard Bell was there.
That's right, because I saw Jelly when I took 2 kids over to the British Open. Jelly was caddying for Tom Lehman, who I developed a great relationship with, and I walk up to the first tee, and I had taken Tom to lunch, and I see these two, and it was like, holy cow. It's like, wow, that's a small world.
I'm telling you, man, fantastic, man.
I'll make sure
good luck.
I'll make sure that Harold gets your number, too.
Yes.
Once again, we're talking with Sam Puryear. He is the Director of Golf Operations at Queens College of Charlotte. And it turns out he and Harold have a lot in common. That's the reason why I love having Harold on. I'm so glad he's going to be on a little bit later. But I talked to Sam, if you could tell parents anything about getting your kids involved in golf. You don't have to worry about as much about getting hit in the head with concussions and things like that. There are a lot of positive things about golf that, we hold Tiger Woods high, and we think of some of the others that have gone before him, but there's still so much room for good athletes out there.
Well, absolutely.
Male and female.
I think first of all you got to have a supportive family. I know my family, wife, and kids have been really supportive. So you have to have an opportunity where you say, you know what, I want to get my kid involved, and this is what it's going to take. You're going to have to go to your local golf courses or your local golf clubs, and number one, you're going to have to try to get some golf instruction and golf lessons. I think the way Harold did it is great as well. I think if you live in a community that has a nice club, still to this day, maybe you get your kids involved in caddying. It's still a great source of income if you can get your child involved. But at the same time, I think for every parent, it's what I talked about earlier. It's still a sacrifice. I mean, golf isn't like basketball. I mean, if you want to send your kid to a golf lesson, parents should go out there and sit at that golf lesson for an hour. One thing I'll say, a good friend of mine, Marlo Bramlett, whose son Joe is on the tour, you know, Joe wouldn't go to a lesson without Marlo being there. Mm-hmm. And I think that really helps foster the relationship. That really helps foster the golf because it's really a family deal. And so, yeah, I say Marlo was there, but if it wasn't for Marlo's wife, Debbie, I mean, none of that would happen as well. And so in our families now, in order for kids to really have a chance in our communities, they, number one, have to be willing to try something different. It's not instant gratification. Golf is the one sport where you don't get the instant gratification. You're going to have some bad days. You're going to have some bad swings. But it's like anything else in life. You have to persevere. I mean, there's one bad swing. My favorite comment to myself, one bad swing doesn't define me. One bad round doesn't define me. Because I really believe this. Action plus belief equals change. If we continue to believe in something and we're willing to put in the proper actions, we can get our positive change. We can develop that great golf game. We can develop that great mindset. And golf is such a microcosm, such an unbelievable piece of what the true world has to offer, that golf is the one game, in my opinion, to where we should expose all young people, regardless of race or creed, regardless of socioeconomic makeup or level or whatever it is. We should expose all of our kids to golf, because it's the one thing they'll be able to do for the rest of their lives, and they'll be able to touch. Harold is a great example. He caddied for Mr. Nixon, President Nixon. When you come in my house on my piano, I have a picture that we took with George W. in the White House after we won the national championship. It's a place where here at Queens, here in Charlotte, I was fortunate enough to take one of my young women golfers who was a good player. We went out to play with Condoleezza Rice. Mm-hmm. It's something that you just can't do, and you just can't create those opportunities. Golf is the one bridge that touches, to me, it's the thread that sews up the entire world.
All right, and so many deals are now made on golf courses,
That's right.
too.
Decisions of the country.
Many thanks to Sam Puryear, Jr. He is Director of Golf Operations at Queens College of Charlotte. Lots more of his outstanding work can be found at queensathletics.com. Once again, that's queensathletics.com. Thank you so much, Sam. It was wonderful chatting with you. I'll get you those numbers.